Bill, what's your last name?
Mac.
And you do what with Cadillac?
I'm the CT6 Global Product Manager, so I work on the vehicle line development team, responsible for getting the voice of the customer into the vehicle line team. It's full of engineers, purchasing people, manufacturing people, and we kind of shape the whole car over its life cycle.
So basically, you're the advocate for the end user.
I am.
So how did you target who the buyer of this car was going to be?
I think what we did was we looked at this segment, which is the mid-lux segment, and the upper lux segment, and we looked at current customers and we said, what are some unmet needs? What can we do to do it better in this segment? Kind of a new formula and really kind of go out and serve a good new customer base.
So what I was hearing from the presentations I attended was that Cadillac doesn't want to be a Me Too kind of car company. I mean, there's lots of established players in the mid and full-size luxury space. So you developed this car to sort of be what you consider right-sized.
Yeah, what we really saw was there are a lot of people that are in the mid-lux segment that really want more rear seat space, whether it's clients, whether it's family members, whether it's just going out for a weekend. They wanted that rear seat space. So this car really excels at that, and we think that's going to be really sort of a departure from the established sizes. There's no sense making one more copy of the same mid-lux size car. So that's what we set out to do.
Now, also this serves, as you said, your global I guess, person in charge of the global market for this car. So China obviously plays a big part.
Yes, China is a heavy rear seat use as well. So it almost fills the same need, right? For Canada, for the U.S., it fills the need of needing that space in the back. And I think also what we didn't want to do is you get the space in the back, but you don't want to give up performance. In fact, we wanted to see if we could push that performance envelope, make the car lighter, make it agile, because we really felt like as the car gets bigger, it gets less fun to drive. And why do that? So that's kind of where we break the mold too. It's like we tried to make this car very fun to drive, very agile, and while you're taking a couple friends, so you can all experience it.
All right. So if you were talking to what you thought would be the end user, what were they telling you about Cadillac that you needed to change?
I think in general, a lot of them were really waiting for us to get back into the segment. They realized that we did large cars a while ago. A lot of them just frankly said, "Why aren't you in this space? Why can't you come back?" So they kind of saw that.
And the XTS isn't the car for them.
In a lot of ways, this car really prioritizes is very efficient in the rear seat. It has very athletic proportions. The XTS does a great job as that as well, but we have even more space in the rear, and I think that's what they were looking for. It's really like flying first class instead of more legroom the better almost.
But what about the brand that they want to see change? Not specifically the CT6, but
Right.
where do they want you to go? The potential buyers.
I think what they're looking for is take some of the passion that might be missing in some of the mid entries and add kind of the Cadillac swagger into the segment. So you take almost kind of like an Escalade point of view and you put it on a car and kind of run with it. So as far as Cadillac, I think they just wanted to see more new entries. We've gotten to a point where we're not covering all the segments, and so they just wanted to see us in more spaces and do something bold and a little bit different to fulfill.
Now, I would suggest that Cadillac over the last 10 years has been about design. That's really where I think you differentiate yourself, is the way these cars look. And this is a very handsome car.
Yeah, we really wanted this car to be timeless. Once you start paying this much money for a car, you don't necessarily want a design that's going to be you're going to be tired of in 2 years, because frankly, you're going to be paying for it for longer than that. So it does need to have some elegance. It does need to be refined, and it does need to have this kind of a timeless quality, all while still being, I think, bold, and it's got to catch people's eye. You don't buy a Cadillac to hide, or should you? It's really an expression of really luxury and boldness. So that's what that's the balance we tried to strike.
And I think it's the front of the car that really says something. The headlight package is fantastic.
Yeah, we used an indirect fire LED, so that most LEDs you see kind of cubes, stacked cubes, or they're a certain commodity size. We didn't want to do that. We wanted a sculpted shape. So that's why we spent a lot of time with the mirrors behind the light to get the right light to come out while having a really cool shape. And you notice that when like the valets are trying to look for a car, they see that headlamp shape and they go, okay, yeah, I know what that is. And that's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about some of the tech that's in the CT6. You've got You've got a sort of an entry-level 2-liter turbocharged engine. You've got a 3.6-liter V6 and a new twin turbo. But this 3.6 is not the old 3.6 that you had, that 305 horsepower engine that's been used across the General Motors family of vehicles for many years.
Right. So the 3.6 is the only thing that's kind of carryover is the 3.6.
Right.
It's nothing in the parts. In fact, it just won one of Ward's 10 best engines. It is completely new. 265 horsepower, good torque. And we think it's going to form kind of the core lineup, that coupled with the all-wheel drive, which is really the only way it comes.
And you have the option to get all-wheel steering.
You do. So you can option up on a free-flow basis to the active chassis, which then includes MR suspension, magnetized suspension, 20-inch tires and wheels, and active rear steer. We call it the active sacrifice that.
Now, you've said already that people are ordering cars at the dealership with the 3-liter twin-turbo fully loaded, so that engine offers you a lot of power, right?
It does.
Excuse me.
It has 404 horsepower and 400 pounds-feet of torque, so it has a lot of power. Importantly, it comes on down low, and that's customers tell us time and time again, they want effortless horsepower. They may not know how many horsepower they have, but they really know when they accelerate, they want it responsive. They don't want the car to seem like it's working hard. They just want to see effortless power that's frankly going to be a little faster than neighbors. So that's where the 3-liter twin turbo excels, and it's why it's really the initial orders are running pretty heavy on that.
Could there ever be a V car? There could always be a V car.
In my mind, there can always be a V car, and the more the better. And we look at that. One of the things that has continually surprised us through the development process is that how capable this car is. Until you really get it out and you really start pushing it, the computer simulation might tell you one thing. Your seat of the pants it's going to tell you another, and we know we have upside. And I'll probably leave it at that, but we know we have upside.
There's room in here. Yeah.
There's good room, and I would love it.
All right, we'll talk about the interior for a moment here, because speaking with your head of design, all of the stuff that looks like steel, aluminum, all of the stuff that looks like leather, all the stuff that looks like carbon fiber, it's the real deal. So you
Yes.
are spending money on the interior.
Yeah, and that was very important. As you see the instrument panel and you see the trim that's on it, and this particular level, the color is called cinnamon, but it also has a gorgeous carbon fiber weave. It's not fake carbon fiber; it's real carbon fiber. Many manufacturers charge thousands of dollars for a real carbon fiber, and we really wanted to make that accessible. So it's in just about every interior we do, whether it's in the upper deco trim or the lower fiber.
But the tech that's in here, like the instrument cluster behind the steering wheel, it's just a screen. Mercedes in their S-Class has that. And you've got a large screen to the right of that, which is over 10 inches, right?
10.2.
And this is your latest Q system from Cadillac. And I notice on the steering wheel and the buttons below the big screen, you've gone away from that sort of swipe feature that you had with the last CTS. People say they didn't like that.
I think
they've gone back to like regular buttons and switches.
I think as you see trends go, some of it's fashion, some of it's function. So I think we still kept the fashion, and I think what we did is dial back in some of the function, and people do like positive buttons to use.
Well, one I'm missing. You know what it is?
I'm guessing it's volume.
The volume button. Why won't you just give me that?
One day, I promise you, it will be here.
You think so?
It will be.
You're going to put a volume knob in there?
There will be a volume knob somewhere, I promise.
Is that something you would like personally?
I would like it too. I think some controls, when you're driving, you have heavy demands. You want some controls just to be quick, accurate, and you don't have to think about it. And it's sort of almost why we did the touchpad, because a lot of people use the touchpad on a computer. So we wanted that to be an interface that was very, very easy to use. Volume knob, I'm with you. I'd take it back today.
Yeah, the thing is you can, and the one thing I notice is when you're driving with your wife or vice versa, and they can just reach over and turn it down. And what I love is the mute. It's just push it. And you pull up to the parkade and you want to pay the guy the money to get out of the parking lot. You just push the button and you mute it.
Right.
I don't know. Honda's doing this too. Honda, none of their new cars have a volume knob. It drives me crazy. And everybody says, Zach, you're old, get with the times. But I don't know.
I'm not giving away product secrets, but don't worry.
All right, so for somebody that's been driving a BMW or Mercedes or an Audi or some other luxury product, what do you say to them? And they've never owned a Cadillac, they've never driven one. What's your pitch? I'll give you 30 seconds, go. It's like the debates, go.
What I would say is really, a lot of what we see in the mid-luxury class is very formulaic. It's the same formula. It's the same car. It's basically stayed the same for a long time. We really think we've created something different here. It's lighter weight. It's fun to drive, and at the same time, it's bigger. So it really does a lot of things that a lot of luxury customers need really, really well. And it's got a great presence. It's part of the new resurgence of Cadillac. Cadillac will be cool again, and this is really kind of the midpoint of that wave of all of our product renaissance. And you really have to kind of experience it. You can't just talk about it. You have to actually get out there and try it, put people in the back, and thrash the car around hard.
Yeah.
You'll be rewarded.
I would agree with you. If this is the direction you're going, good days for Cadillac. Thanks for your time.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to watch a full review of the all-new 2016 Cadillac CT6. Click the picture on the left.